This is the LG G4. I am Mike with MobileRadical.com and thisinsteadofwork.com. We're going to be taking a look at this phone today and going over things I like and maybe don't like so much about this phone. Let's start out with the leather feeling back. There's a lot to like about it. It's kind of cool. It's got things that a lot of people like. I find it to be, it's not a grippy leather, which I know I don't like. It makes it slide around a bit. It almost fell out of my hand a moment ago when I was walking over to do this review, and I didn't like that at all. The fact that it slides around quite a bit. That is kind of frustrating and can cause some problems. On the other hand, it does look amazing. That black finish on that leather is very nice. It's kind of got a good I don't know, it's just got a good texture to it. Again, not a grippy texture, but a good texture. It's got the seam down the middle. All the buttons, volume and power, are on the back. Let's take a look. The features are very reminiscent of an LG device, so if you had something LG before, it's not going to be way different for you. This notification center here actually follows one of the things I don't necessarily love. In a lot of ways, I feel like Google's notification center with Google Now does a better job. This almost makes me feel like a child, in a way of, hey, you know, Mike, get out there and you got this thing going on today. Don't forget. It almost feels like I've been pinned something on my jacket. All of the LG's icons are very square and blocky, which doesn't really, to me, follow the guide that they're that Android's looking for. Yeah, there's some square blocky apps on here, but they just don't match necessarily. It's a similar idea, just not a matching idea. It almost looks like LG tried to go simpler than what Google was looking for, and that's up to them completely. In fact, it almost has an iPhone type feel to it. It's not a huge issue, it's just something I didn't like necessarily. That being said, there are some beautiful colors on this phone. It is a very simplistic view. It's got the center here where you can do your remotes and your schedule. It's got things to like, things not to like, features, things to bring up. That part's kind of cool. That's where Google Now tends to go, is when you swipe all the way to the left. The notification panel, very nice, very similar to any other LG phone you've ever had. I've told a lot of people, if they've got the G3, maybe skip this one. That's what it really comes down to. This one's not enough of a change for me to not be skipped. Everything's all here. It feels good. Google Now works. You can access it. Doesn't change anything. The loading times are good. This is on Sprint, so it's a cool device. I find Sprint to work really well where I am, so it hasn't had any issues. Charging is on the bottom. There's the headphone jack on the bottom and a speaker here on the back. The speaker's not super loud, but it doesn't really need to be. It wasn't really branded as a phone that requires a loud speaker. Let's take a look at the menus, because that was a little different for me. It's got an LG feel to that too. You can swipe left and right to get to the different menu things. For somebody that's used to an Android phone or a certain Android phone, this can be, I think, a little distracting, because you have to kind of go and find everything again. Everything's pretty simple, and it's where it should be. There's very laid out sections. But if you're used to Android phones or certain Android phones, this one's just a little different. So be aware, if you go buy an LG G4, to know that it's going to be different than what you're used to as far as different Android phones. If you're coming from LG, this is actually probably going to be pretty normal for you, and it won't be a giant leap. The G1, G2, they were completely different phones from what this is. I feel like they've leapt a lot and taken some liberties a lot with this phone as a way to advance themselves in the system and in the market. It's got the specs that you'd want. Nobody's really complaining there. It's fast, it's fluid, so obviously they're doing some things right with that. As it's not harmed by anything. It has a decent camera. I've played with it just a little bit, and I'll post some pictures of the camera shortly to my Google Plus page. So find me as Plus Mike Corbett, as I am there, and you know, have pictures, and I'll of course tag them as to what phone they are, and let you know what's going on with that camera, with that phone, as well as I'll be posting them on an article tagged to G+, Google Plus, under medium.com. I use that for all my blogging. Medium.com is really great for that. The LG G4, it also comes in different colors. I wasn't able to get different colors, but if this one's not quite for you, check it out. It's got a 16 megapixel camera. Do remember, megapixels aren't everything. That's not to say this is a bad camera, just megapixels aren't everything. Bigger isn't always better. The front camera is 8 megapixels, so that's pretty cool. Overall, it's got good lenses on it. It's got the Snapdragon 808, 1.8 gigahertz, 64-bit hexa-core, so 6 cores rather than 8 like some phones come with. That's not a huge downfall though, because Android hasn't quite optimized the multiple cores. You can definitely tell they're there. They're just not optimized like they absolutely should be. It does come with 3 gigs of RAM, so it's quite a bit faster. It doesn't lag as much, and not as much has an issue. This one comes with Android 5.1, but if you're following the news, LG is releasing Android Marshmallow, Android 6, to other places in the world with this phone first. So hopefully we'll get it here in America. That could actually be pretty cool to see on this phone, especially first. Maybe that'll change some things. Maybe they'll have changed a few things by then. I don't know. With all that being said, that's my review. I don't have much else to say about it. Unfortunately, I just really didn't attach to this phone like I wanted to. I really wanted this to be a game changer for me, and it just was more of a normal or a middle ground. I know it's going to make a lot of people mad, and I've already had some people mad about it, but that's how I feel about it. So that's going to close this out. This has been Mike with MobileRadical.com and thisinsteadofwork.com. I will catch you guys later.